So I brought this conversation to her, and I said, "Remember, we discussed this, and I didn't ask you whether you be having sex. How are you having sex? Where are you having sex? You know, what do you like? Or because this is not our business. Your sex life, it's your intimate decision and moments that you have with somebody else, and we respect that. If you have any questions, we can help, but we're never gonna question you. Where do you do it? How do you do it? Have you done this? Have you done that? Because that'll be weird. I mean, unless you want to know what kind of positions we do together. And she's like, you know.
Hey guys, it's John and Jackie of OpenLove101.com. Welcome to our show. Today our guests are some friends of ours, Liz and Miguel. They live here in Houston, Texas. Guys, welcome to our show.
Thank you. It's an honor to have you, or you have us.
Thank you for having us.
You can have us too.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah.
Thank you.
And Liz and Miguel are in the lifestyle, the swinger lifestyle, and they have been for how long?
We never kept count, but 2005 round.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how exactly did that happen? How did that progress?
I think it was a gradual thing. It was never us very abrupt introduction to it. We kind of start talking about it. We start doing
Camera first.
Camera, what are you talking about?
In the early stages of the internet, people were broadcasting, and you can see couples having sex, and we're like,
and they can see you.
They can see you.
Yeah.
Really?
That's how we start.
I did not know that.
Yes.
We never talk about that, but yes.
What website was that called?
Adult Friend Finder.
Oh, okay. Do they still?
They're still around.
Yeah, I know Adult Friend Finder is still around, but do they still do that particular?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm sure now they're more diverse. I suppose. But
Now, was that something? Like, how did that conversation come about? Because that seems kind of like, wow, let's do this in front of the camera and have other people watch. I mean, that seems kind of outside.
Yeah, it was a very I guess in the beginning arousing to think about it too, because we're like, okay, what if? Well,
we started first with thinking about the male guy delivering the milk, or the male guy, and then he find that adult finder thing, and then we're like, okay, they can look at us and we can look at them, and they can ask you questions like touch you here, touch you that, and you request the same.
So it kind of started out, it sounds like fantasy talk.
Yes.
And then you found this outlet to be able to just kind of incorporate
kind of
play.
make it a little more real.
Right. But now, you guys have been married for a while.
Yes, 25 years.
25 years.
Yes.
So 2005, how long would you guys have been married when you started doing that?
So we married in 98.
So yeah, 7 years.
7 years. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of early in our marriage, yeah.
Yeah. So how long did you guys do that before it graduated?
Oh, no, we're not there yet.
Oh, we're not?
No, I want to find out more about this thing.
Okay.
So,
He wants to know details. I'm fine with that.
so you're having the talk about this, and then you found Adult Friend Finder,
Yes.
and then you started getting naked and having sex on camera.
Yes.
And was it? Did you enjoy it in the beginning? Was it uncomfortable? How did you find that whole experience?
I mean, even for me, a little more adventurous, I suppose, in the beginning. It was something new, too. Like, I was not used to see other people see me, naked. And I knew it was camera and stuff, but, you were a little more reserved back then, too.
Yeah.
If you were reserved, why would you do it?
Oh, it was a
It
thought.
was kind of like a rush.
Yeah, and arousing in a way.
Yes.
Like, well, it's kind of awkward because we rationalize it in a way that's like, well, it's new. It's a new situation. We're gonna be awkward and we don't know what to do. But as it progressed, and we did and we met people from New Orleans and California and
From
Colorado and online, So it was kind of like, okay.
And then we posted pictures, and big mistake about that.
Why was that a big mistake?
Because it was cold, and I was wearing green socks. And we posted a picture, and my brother-in-law found the picture, and he recognized my socks.
Oh.
So, of course, now we know they're on that too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they're on that too.
It's like, well, the only
So
way
he
you
was
would've
just
known that.
browsing and checking pictures, and he's like, I recognize those socks. And he asked, and we're like, no, maybe somebody else is wearing the same socks.
No, and they knew.
They
like,
knew, but
Yeah.
big mistake about the green socks.
So that's your brother and his wife.
Yes.
My sister.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's how we found out that
They're in the
obviously
lifestyle too.
Okay, well, so then how did you end up in the livestock? Can we
Yeah,
touch on
go
that
ahead.
now? Okay.
I mean, and I don't know. I know some people don't really talk when they having sex and stuff, but we are very like vocal and we talk and whatever, remembering or creating fantasy situations, whatever. But we were like, imagine this like being actually real. Like if this couple on the other end is actually next to us, like would that change anything? Would that how would you feel? We're like, yeah, it's kind of interesting. That's So eventually we graduated. In the first time we did it, it was same awkward. We're like
Yeah.
a new situation.
And how much time elapsed? Like when do you think that first experience? What year would that have been?
That was when we moved here, right?
Yeah, maybe like a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Couple of years later.
Because when we
around,
started, we started in Mexico with a camera
Oh,
looking at each other.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we
Okay.
moved here, that's when we start like searching around, looking around, fantasy, and yeah.
And we finally met this couple very first time, and they were first timers too, and it was awkward. We actually didn't. I mean, essentially, we just watched each other. We didn't do anything. I mean,
Yeah, you don't know what to do the first time.
So you mean to tell me that the first couple that you guys had this interchange with or were in the same room, both of you were brand new?
yes.
Yes.
Oh, that is so cute.
Well, now that I think about it, it is like we're like that's kind of cool that we were both first.
Yeah, yeah. Neither couple was
Yeah,
kind of like, what
it's
are we
awkward.
doing?
Yeah, you don't know what to do. What?
Right. Nobody has experience in
Nope.
it, so
No.
everybody's kind of flying blind. But it went okay.
Yeah, I mean, we still talk to them. It's been years. I mean, they live in Salt Lake, but we talk not very often, but
Here
we're
and
still
there.
friends with them. Yeah, and it was a good experience. Quite frankly, in the beginning, you don't know how to put in the catalog if it's good or bad. But looking back, it's like, it was a good experience. It was not pushy. It was not threatening. Everybody was new, so that I suppose part of the reason why it was more like relaxed.
Right. Now, I know for me, a lot of times my favorite part of those kind of connections is afterwards when we're all talking. Did that happen in that first time? Did you guys kind of compare notes or talk about how the evening went? Or was that something that came later with other experiences?
I think we did talk a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah, not much. But I remember we were laughing a little bit, and I can't remember the details because it's been a few years, but he was a clown too. He's a clown. He likes to make jokes and stuff, so that also kind of helped.
Yeah. A
I
little.
mean, that's why
To break the ice,
yeah, I think
like-
that's why we were
Right,
also
not so much
laughing
pressure.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
did you feel any negative feelings about it, jealousy or anything like that? Did you guys did you just play in the same room together, or did you do things with each other?
So we were on the same bed, and I was with her and he was with her, and occasionally he'll reach out or I'll reach out or she'll reach out or but it was kind of like a shy touch. It was no like, I mean, we're new. We're like,
Right.
is it okay if I
in the
touch? Like,
water.
but that's a fair question because I was not sure. I was not jealous, but I was not sure if the other guy was. Like, we didn't discuss that. We were really just on the fly decisions. So like, is it okay if I touch? And but
Yeah. But
that's
now we
good.
know that we need to ask first.
Well, in the situation, sometimes you can read, what's happening and when they're resistive to something, and but
Well, and you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
right,
So
Right.
it's interesting when you look back at your first experience and you're like, we didn't even know what to ask or what our role was or what their role was, what we were supposed to do. But now you're like, with such confidence. Oh, but we know now.
Yeah.
We know what we're how that format is or how that unfolds and how we respect ourselves, how we respect the other couple, and how that interchange looks. So there's definitely growth from that first
oh,
experience
definitely,
to the experience that you have today. And so you guys, do you pretty much play as a couple?
yes,
Right.
Yes.
So both of you are involved in all of those play dates.
Yes.
I mean, there's been situations where I notice we try to read the situation when we meet somebody, and you can tell like the subtle signals, like if they're into you, or if they're not into you, or if they're not sure, or if they don't have an agreement, like if there's some sort of issue. And we have noticed, and just like anything, you get good experiences and bad, but we have been in situations where one of them is not into us. Either the lady's not into me, and she's doing it, to go through the motions, but the guy's into her, or vice versa. And we don't like that, when we see that, because I don't want her to feel like pressure or the guy pressure to. I mean, it's mostly the female side, but
No.
when when she's looking over constantly, and I can see that she's not comfortable, I'm like, you know what, it's okay, like we can revert back to our partners and go from there. And
Sure.
Or sometimes we talk about it, and I don't get offended because it's okay if you're not into me. It's okay. We
Right.
can watch. So if I feel kind of awkward, but I know Miguel is enjoying the moment, I just whisper to the guy and I say, "Hey, do you want to relax? We can watch. I don't have popcorn with me, but I mean, we can
Oh, you're so sweet.
we can enjoy the show." And so, yeah, sometimes they agree, like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we can watch, and we just watch, and that's fine. I don't get jealous. I know he's enjoying the moment, and at the end of the night, he's going with me, and that's fine, or vice versa.
I like that. No, I like that you both are really conscious of reading each other and
Yes.
making sure that both of you are having a good experience. And if one of you is not, it's like it pains you as well. Like if she's not having a good
Yeah,
time, you're not
definitely.
gonna like, well, no, this isn't about just me, or it's not just about Liz, it's about both of you.
Yeah.
So
And usually it takes just a look or a touch, and
Or sometimes when it's the guy is kind of rough, or he tried to do what he used to do with his wife, and I'm like, hey, I'm not your wife. Hello, I'm
I'm
Liz.
brand new.
I'm Liz. Yeah. So I just touch Miguel, and he knows my touch, and I say, something is wrong. Like something is bothering me, hurting me. I am uncomfortable. So he started paying more attention to me. And sometimes I stop the thing, I say, nice.
and we just go back.
And then we, quick.
That's a really good point. And I mean, that's a really good reminder to couples when we're playing with a brand new couple.
Yeah.
Like this isn't your partner. You don't have a history with them. You don't know their moves or their moods or what they like or what they don't like. So if you come in hot like you would with your partner, that can really be off-putting because you're just assuming you can do these things because you've been able to do this with your partner.
Yeah.
Now, like this is a brand new scenario. You need to just kind of like enjoy that unfolding of that process. That's a really good reminder. I like that a lot.
And I think that's also part of the appeal of, meeting new people. And you have to be mindful that this is this is not my wife. I want to find out what they're like, what they're into, what she enjoys, or what she doesn't enjoy.
Right.
So it takes a little bit of reading, but that's fun for us too. Trying to find out what works.
Yeah.
Now, Jackie, I know you guys are parents, and we want to get to discussions you've had with you and with your children. But first, I need to let everyone know about signing up. OpenLove101.com. You can sign up for our email list. We'll notify you of upcoming blogs or videos that we have. Also, Open Love 101 Plus is, I'm having a hard time saying that today.
You haven't had enough coffee.
No, I haven't had enough coffee. Is our private membership portal that you can join and have behind the scenes and one-on-ones, and we also do some what do you call those things, Courtney? Webinars. Anyway, you can find it all at openlove101.com. Please go there and check it out. And now we're back with Liz and Miguel.
Yay.
And you guys are parents. At some point you had kids in your marriage, yes?
Yes, we have 4 kids.
And how old are they now?
You go.
22 is the oldest. It's a girl. Then a boy is 19. And then a girl, she's 17. And our youngest is 15, boy. So
Yeah.
Girl, boy, 2 and 2.
And so, based on you starting with your filming exploits back in 2005, they've been a part of your life, around the same time concurrently. But this isn't something you shared with them.
Right. We and we discussed a long time ago this. It's not that we keep this secret. This is not something that we don't want to share with them. And just how we found out in the lifestyle, this is not for everybody. Some people are just not, okay with this, and they will never be. And it might be for moral reasons, religion reasons, whatever, but some people will never be able to do this. And we are mindful of that maybe our kids will or may not be, cut for this. And we don't want that to become an influence for them to like, okay, well, my parents are swingers, I guess we're gonna be swingers, and then that could cause some issues later on their relationships, and because they're not ready for this. So it's something that we discussed. We have discussions about anything at our table. We always try to be involved in their lives, and they can talk to us openly about pretty much anything. But yeah, it's a conversation that has made it to the table.
So you've talked about the swinger lifestyle at the table before in years past, just in general, like in relationships.
It has come up it has come up like in shows that we watch now, like the Sister Wives or the Second Sister Wives, or all this stuff.
Sex life.
And they know about it. In fact, one day they asked, we were going to a party and we were dressed with pineapples, and our oldest daughter is like, you can be misunderstood because pineapple means that you guys are swingers. And we're like, oh,
how
okay.
you know? TikTok. And we're like,
And when was this?
This a couple of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that couldn't have been too long ago.
And then Halloween, we dressed as wrestlers and we chose pineapples.
And as your wrestling costume?
Yeah, pineapples. Okay. We put that pineapple upside down on our cape, but I hide it. I didn't show them to them, just pictures. But they saw the mask with pineapples and everything. They were like, why pineapple? No watermelon, no melon, no lemon. Pineapple.
Grapes.
Everything.
So I just want to make sure that I understand this. So it wasn't so much that you were keeping this information from your kids because of shame or guilt or anything. You were doing this purely from the standpoint of not wanting to influence your kids in one direction or another. You wanted them to be able to make choices about
Is that
their
right? Is that how you guys
yes,
feel about it?
on their own, yeah. So
Right.
essentially, yes. And this is another thing that we discussed. Like in the future, if they end up in the lifestyle, good for them. And if that's what they enjoy, good for them.
Right.
We knew, it's not that we were hiding it. We knew that the moment would come.
Yes.
Okay, so
Where-
you were prepared for.
Yes.
So, but when you're watching these shows together and you had discussions about the lifestyle, did they seem like they were proponents of it, in years past, or did they seem uncomfortable with it if you're watching Sister Wives?
No, they were okay. In fact, we comment about it. Like I made comments about, okay, so there's a guy with two ladies looking for a third. That's kind of unfair. How come the guy, doesn't think about them? It's like, okay, let's bring another guy, And our kids were like, yeah, like why not? Like, so things like that. And we have discussions at home, and we want them to make decisions on their own. We want them to be to question, to ask. Yes, there's a lot of things and a lot of information out there, but we don't want them to take things at face value. And we're like, you can ask us anything. We can talk about anything. So we want them to be open and not judge anybody because you never know what's behind this whole thing. So we knew that situation would come where they'll finally, ask us. But we were prepared. We thought about it many years ago. Like, eventually one day our kids are gonna ask about it. They're gonna find out. And it's again not we were keeping it, but we were waiting for the moment for that to happen.
You were waiting for them to come to you.
Yes.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
And so, why wouldn't you tell them beforehand? What did you discuss? The other option would be going to them and saying, who you were as a couple.
Yeah. Well.
No, I don't think.
No, I think we were waiting for them to be more age appropriate for them to listen to. We have discussed porn, we have discussed sex, we have discussed drugs and alcohol with our kids, and we have done it in depending on their age and how much they can take, and make it age appropriate for them to understand things. And we felt now that the youngest is 15. And I'm sure he has seen a lot of things on the internet.
Yeah, he knows.
And of course, our daughter, she's
22.
22. She has a boyfriend. Like, we don't expect her to be holding hands only. So,
Yeah.
we felt that was like, okay, well, now that they're mentioning and it was brought to the table on a dinner, like we always discuss things, which we like the fact that happened that way because that shows that they can trust us and they can ask us directly. So we're like.
So what are you talking about now?
So one day we were sitting at the table and or all the son is like, well.
The girls weren't home. It was just the boys. And our son is like, well, I need to tell you guys something. And then
yeah, he's like, well, word around the campfire is that you guys are swingers.
Here's that conversation you guys have been waiting for.
Yes. We're like, well, I guess this is it.
I was about to give a bite and yeah, it was a punch in my stomach. I didn't expect he was going to say that. Kind of yes, kind of no. But I went blank. Like and then when I get so nervous, I prefer keep it quiet because then I say dumb things.
Me too.
Then I say, honey, I just touched him, honey. That's for you. Yeah.
Well, and the fact that he was actually casually asking about it, it made me feel like, okay, it's good, and we're like,
word around the campfire.
Yeah.
I love
In
that.
front of our 15-year-old. The two boys were at the table waiting for us, like to ask.
and we were like, okay, you know what? We're gonna have dinner here in a little bit. Let's wait for them, and we'll discuss this with them.
Yeah, that what happened. So we have dinner together, and Miguel's like, hey, you have something to say? She was grabbing her cup.
And this was your the oldest
Oldest
daughter?
daughter.
Okay.
And she put the cup, boom, on the table. Actually, yes. And she folded her arms, and I'm like,
Here it comes.
Yeah, it's gonna be serious.
And this is serious. And
Yeah.
I say, hold on. You know the mom? I'm like, chill out. No, I really want to know. Like, and she her postures stay the same. And I'm like, So I'm again reaching out to Rio, like I
Right.
touch Rio. He's like,
You're
okay,
cute.
okay, tell me what's going on. And then she asked, "Are you guys swingers?" And I was like, like,
And I mean, obviously, that's we didn't think that that would be an easy way to approach it, but honestly, it had to be done, and we're kind of happy that we kind of let that load on the side, and um, but we were cool. I was cool, and I
I was
said,
quiet.
yeah, she was quiet. I just said, well, what makes you think that? Well, and she started remembering things that she's seen, conversations that we had.
Like the cape and
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
pineapple.
cape and
Yeah, and you
his
guys-
short, his t-shirt, and what
Yeah,
else?
I have some shirts with pineapples on it, and she's like, "Well, you guys are gone, pretty much every weekend, and you guys come back sometimes early, sometimes 7, 8 in the morning, sometimes 10."
and you're not like, who are you, my mom?
Yeah. Well, and also she was curious and she went to our closet and I fold my little tiny dresses so nice. I know what I wear when I don't want to repeat it. So I have my order in my closet in shoe boxes. So she went and opened the boxes. I don't know how many. So that's when she's like, "Oh, yes."
Now she told you this in the conversation, right? She's been,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. She opened up and she said, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I checked your boxes and where you wear these clothes, where?" And Miguel is like, "Well, in the room."
Well, and
he's
or,
like, "What does it matter? I mean, why you want to know that?"
our son actually was a little more like open about it. He's like, "Well, they've been married for 25 years. I mean, she's bound to have stuff like this."
Now, this is what he told you at the table, or is what he
At the
told you?
table,
The
yeah, we
table.
were all
All
together.
together
Yeah,
at the
okay.
table.
And the dresses that you're talking about like little nightclub dresses,
Yes,
really
ugh.
sexy,
See-through.
some are see-through,
See-through.
yeah.
Everything that I wear. At the
Right. It's
club.
not something that you're wearing to the mall.
No.
No.
No. No. Yeah, everything I wear to the club, like see-through, neon,
Right.
Really tiny stuff, or
or maybe
barely there.
barely
Lingerie
there.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So just making sure that
Yeah.
she's like,
And so
where are you
you-
wearing this stuff?
And so you asked, why would you think that? And that's when she started saying these things. Like, I went through this, some things I saw in the past. And
And so I remember I brought to the conversation some instances where we have discussed with them, sex, and specifically with her. She's going on a trip to Florida with the boyfriend and coworkers, and I mean, of course, they're not gonna be holding hands only. And we had to sit with them at the table, and we pretty much said, "Hey, I know you guys are going to this trip, and I just want to set things clear. We were at the table. We want you to understand what the expectations are. Like whatever you guys gonna do, if you guys gonna use protection or pills or whatever, I don't care. Like we're not gonna ask you. But if you end up pregnant or whatever, like you need to plan this. That make sure that whatever your plan is, it goes. Like, whether you're gonna be, birth control, whatever. But if your plan is to be pregnant, that's fine. It's your decision. But know that you're gonna have to look for a place to live. We'll give you a few months so you can, set something out, and we're gonna help you. We're always gonna love you and support you. But this is what's gonna happen. So just don't be surprised if things don't go the way you think, and we'll be there. So I brought this conversation to her, and I said, "Remember, we discussed this, and I didn't ask you whether you be having sex. How are you having sex? Where are you having sex? What do you like? Or because this is not our business. Your sex life, it's your intimate decision and moments that you have with somebody else. And we respect that. If you have any questions, we can help, but we're never gonna question you. Where do you do it? How do you do it? Have you done this? Have you done that? Because that'll be weird. I mean, unless you want to know what kind of positions we do together." And she's like, "You know." I mean,
I mean,
that's exactly why.
Yeah.
Like, whatever we do in our intimate life, it's us. You know, it's a decision that we have made together. How do we do it? Where we do it? Who do we do it with? It doesn't matter. Like, in the end, like, if I say yes, we are swingers, what changes for you? What's the difference? You live in a home where you are loved, you are supported. You know, we're not rich, but you don't need anything. So all of our kids were like kind of internalizing all this stuff. And she was just like, her posture was like not fully convinced that what we were saying. But our youngest, which was unexpected completely, he looked at her and was like, yeah, why are you so interested in their sex life? Like, what do you care?
Yeah.
Whatever they do, I mean, if they are at home at 10 in the morning or 3 in the morning, or what they do.
Yeah.
Wha-
They're his, like, they work hard, they work all week, they deserve to be out. What does it matter? Doesn't change anything. And I'm like, thank you. Yeah, he was very supportive. And I'm like, well, dang. Okay.
And everybody else, you know,
Back
follow.
him up. Yeah.
We're
Follow
like,
him.
yeah, like, what does it matter? Like, whatever they do. I mean, they're happy. You know, we communicate, we love each other. What does it matter what we do?
Yeah. And we're mommy and daddy, 100%. Well, on Fridays until 6. Saturdays until 5:45, depending. Yeah, but
Well, and you made another comment because we've discussed this
Yes.
before, and which is one reason why you are on this show right now, because it's such a great example of how you can handle a situation like that and be prepared for it, and really almost flip the scenario. You know, where she thought she was really coming in hot and powerful in this, and you shifted it on her, which she was unprepared for. But I loved during that conversation when she had pilfered through your things, and you supported Liz in her sexuality and her power as a woman. And I was so touched by the support system that the two of you have for each other, which is another really meaningful lesson to those kids. Because it's like, you can come at us with these almost like an accusation, like, what do you two think you're doing? But we're going to circle the wagons, and we're going to come back as a powerhouse. And, you know, you're not going to dictate what happens in this. We do.
And that's one of the things that we did mention to her. I addressed her. It's like, I don't know. I mean, if you're trying to prove that we're not perfect and whatever we're doing or you think we're doing is wrong, you don't have to look for imperfections in us. I can tell you we're not perfect, and you've seen it many times, and we're gonna make mistakes, and we're still gonna make more mistakes. But I'm kind of surprised that you are not supportive of your mom when she's sex and body image positive. You should be proud of her that, you know, whatever she does and she's confident about it. You know, I'm proud of her. And everybody was like, yeah, like, kind of like, yeah, just leave him alone. Like, but it was a good experience. She in the end, when we were through the conversation, her posture changed slowly.
very
But in the end, the next day, the following morning, she came into a room. And well, another thing I failed to mention is that when she went through her stuff, tell her what you told her.
Oh, I told her, well, I don't go to your room. I respect your stuff. Your stuff is your stuff. My stuff is my stuff. I don't go and open your doors or your closet to try to find something. If I respect your stuff, I want the same thing. I don't know what are you looking for? And she just looked at me like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah, and I don't want to know. I mean, I'm respectful of their stuff. Like for all our kids, not just her. We don't
Right.
go and try to look for something. We are very respectful, and so we expect the same thing from them. Well, they respect me. They don't touch anything from him. It's just the girls. They're very curious, and that's what happened. So the next morning, she came to our room, and she's like, "Yeah, I made a mistake, and I'm so sorry." And we're like, okay, that's fine. We gave a hug and a kiss, and she's like, I love you, Mom. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. And I'm like, okay, thank you.
God, I just love that. I mean, I just love it because it's a way to take a situation that was probably very triggering for her, because I'm sure, if you find out something like this that seems so far outside of like Western society, there's probably a questioning of what does that mean for her, which is another reason why, like you said, that you didn't try to influence your kids, because that is what happens. Like, well, what does that mean about me? Who am I if my parents are this? And how am I going to be viewed? What do I do with this information? And you guys were calm and loving and not in control so much as self-assured. Like you were able to show her the power of the decisions that you had made and the thought behind those decisions that you made, and that you're good with the decisions that you made, and this is why. And so it just became, it became this thing where I feel like at first she came in thinking, boy, I'm really gonna set my parents straight and expose them. And it ended up being a thing like, wait a second, what just happened? It's like all of a sudden I'm in the hot seat.
And actually, she was actually sitting there, and everybody was like looking at her like, why are you doing this? And there was a moment where she was questioning, oh, remember Emily, or the daughter? We saw this and that, and she's like, why are you looking at me? Like, and
oh
and
man.
she looked at her at some point, and she's like, really? Are you gonna let me take all this heat by myself? Because nobody was with her.
Nobody.
And she realized like, and I want to think that part of the reason why she was questioning us like that and interrogating us like this, maybe has something to do with the perception. Maybe she's afraid that her mom is going to be viewed different.
Right.
Because
from a
maybe
protection standpoint, yeah.
And she was probably trying to like, well, I don't want my mom to be in a bad light or a bad perception of her. But now I think it was a good teaching moment. It was a good discussion. We all felt, even her later, obviously it took her a little longer, but that we crossed this bridge, and okay, it's understood, it's clear, and we told them, whatever you guys are gonna do in life, whatever partner you're gonna pick, we're here to help you. Like, we don't care what you do, we don't, how you do it, who do you do it with, we're here. So that's really the message we try to, them to remember.
Yeah, actually, a year ago, our daughter, not the oldest, she's like, Mom, why? I understand you wear a bra when you go and work, but during the weekend, why you wear a bra? Free the nipple. And I'm like,
I'm like,
I have a no, and I'm
Like you have no idea.
And I'm like, really? Yeah, Mom. Free the nipple, Mom. And I'm like, but the oldest, she's more like hippie, conservative, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I started doing it, and I don't know, she's very proud of me. Like the small Emily, she's like, oh, my mom freed the nipple. So now I'm like, oh, she's a cool mom because she doesn't wear a bra. And I'm like, okay, but the oldest, she's different. She's more like protective, I think.
Well, yeah, and she also grew up a lot more like a small mommy at home. She always helped with the little ones and stuff. And so I can see that too, that she's like, what are you doing? Like, what kind of example maybe are you, but...
Yeah, Yeah, as the oldest, she feels like maybe it's her job or her role to make sure that her parents are setting a good example for her younger siblings. And like, what do you two think you're doing?
And you know, some time has passed now since you had this dinner talk with them. Have you noticed any changes in their behavior, how they treat you, or when you're going out at night, are they like, "Oh yeah, have fun tonight, mom and dad"?
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
I mean, is it the
bye.
same as it always has
Yeah.
been?
Yeah.
So how do you guys feel though?
Well,
Do you feel
well,
a
at
shift?
first they were saying, "Oh, mom, dad, you arrive at 3," because they can the cameras show, the garage door. Now since we talk about it, they don't
Nothing?
care.
Okay.
No, we just arrive sometimes 4:30. They don't care. Yeah, since then.
So, I mean, I know we can't, we can play scenarios in our head.
Mhm.
What would have been your response if they'd all been like, "Ugh, we just can't handle this"? Because you had to have been prepared for that
Yeah.
scenario
Yeah.
as well. Because I'm just thinking with other parents, because I love your approach. It's like my very favorite approach of how you dealt with the situation. But there is always the other side of the coin where the kids can be like, "We just can't buy into this thing. We just can't support you in that." Is that a response you were prepared for and love and honor them enough to let them have that as well?
Honestly, that was one of the fears that we had because we have met couples that were very religious and somehow they left their religious beliefs and want to enjoy whatever and they start posting about their lives and how they and their kids are older now, married, and they've been really harshly criticized because mom, you raised us to be really religious and conservative, and now you're like off the rails in their views, doing all this stuff and getting tattoos and this and that and piercings um, and that was obviously something that was in our mind. But I felt confident that the way that we always have discussed things at home very openly, um, I felt that it would be understood. It would be like, okay, like it makes sense. Like it's not something, it's not foreign. Yes, we want them to be exposed to things, but we want them to also guide them. Um, for instance, when we talk about pornography, and like, yeah, I mean, I'm aware, and it's easily and readily available for you guys to look at it. But you just need to know that this is not real life. This is a transactional thing happening between two people. Somebody's getting paid, or both of them are getting paid.
Unless you're on Adult Friend Finder doing it.
Exactly.
No, that's good.
That's
We're getting paid differently. See, that's completely different.
Yes,
Right.
because
but
that's
that be a backing for that comment.
Yes.
yeah.
And we want to guide them. We know that they're gonna see stuff. We know that things are gonna be cast out as good or bad, but we want them to make decisions for themselves and to think about it. And we were hoping that what we have, guide them
Yeah.
through life would help them to like ultimately, okay, well, yeah, makes sense. It's your life, and it's in the end, really, sex in between a couple is the intimate part of your life, and it's a decision that you arrive whether you do whatever you like to do with whoever you like to do. It it doesn't have to be public domain, like unless you want to publicly, say, oh, I do this and I do that, and that's fine. It's your own decision, but nobody should come and ask you, oh, are you into anal? I mean, it kind of looks forward, and I can see maybe it works with some people, but maybe you're gonna get some, resistance to that. It's like, why are you asking me this? Yeah, but
Well, and having that, the other thing that I really loved about your handling of that situation and just that question there about like, what do you like anal? I think so often when we get approached with something that looks hard from the outside, like, oh, so I hear you guys are swingers, or, what do you guys think you're doing? Is instead of being reactionary towards that, like you immediately clammed up because there's almost like a defensiveness that you feel because there's almost that sense of being attacked because of the posture and the way she's doing it. But you didn't buy into that. You weren't reactionary. You were responsive. So you never put yourself in like the witness stand where you had to defend yourself. It was never that stance. And that's why I think when that thing flipped and she was like, how did it end up where I'm in this box now,
Well, the other interesting thing is they never answered the question.
No.
Well, yeah, because it was like and I love that too, like what difference does it make? Because you have all of these things in your life, and whether we are or we aren't, you still have all of these things in your life that have made you the powerful, confident person that you are, and that we've taught you how to be objective. My dad used to always say, I don't care what you believe, but you better be able to back it up. So it's that same kind of teaching.
And do you guys feel as though, even though you didn't come out and discuss what you do you feel as though your kids believe that this is who you are? It doesn't matter anymore. You're still the same people you were, but do you think that they know?
We feel they know.
We feel they know.
Well, they wouldn't have come to you and asked, probably.
Right. But at this point, I feel like for them, it's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Like,
and that's what I love
whatever.
about it. It doesn't matter because it's not a defining element of who you are. It's just a leaf on the tree of what you guys do. It's just a piece of.
And just like that question that I just said that, I could have said to her in the table, do you know if I do an anal to mama? And she'll probably be shocked. But I was not after the shock.
Right.
I was just trying to make a point. It was like, whatever we do, do you really want to know what we do? Like what positions we do? And she's like, oh, no, you.
Ew, that's gross.
Right.
Exactly. So why does it matter to you?
Right.
And that's when all the kids were like, yeah, like, why? What is
And
it?
see, that's what I love. You weren't like, I got to defend myself from this thing. It was more like, whatever.
Well, there's another option would be to be dishonest and to say, no, we're not.
Right.
And I think that is what some other couples I know, that's the tack they took with their children. They denied that they were bisexual or that they were in a swinger relationship or whatever it was, because they were afraid of what their kids would think about them if they admitted it.
Right.
And everyone's going to deal with the situation differently. We all have been parents in our own ways from what we've learned and what we've decided to be, whatever it is. From my point of view, though, honesty is always the best way to approach these things, to be honest. And because when we start to become dishonest in who we are, it can make it seem like a negative thing. And it's not a negative thing. Sexuality, no matter how you do it or define it within yourself, is a beautiful thing. It's a part of who we are as humans. And that's the message I think that you're giving to your children, which is really the best message to teach our kids to, you're open to make your own choices when it comes to that in the future.
It really gives them permission to be able to embrace that freedom, so that then they can be 100% responsible for the choices that they make. And I love that you don't take that away from them. And you also show them the result of that power. Like you can't be swayed by, we can't be swayed by you or anybody else because we believe in what we're doing. And that's what this looks like. That's the power of this, of when you're self-assured. So it's a great lesson. Great lesson.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here today. We
thank
really
you.
enjoyed talking to you and
Thank you.
hearing about your experience with your wonderful children. It's really beautiful.
And honestly, one last thing. I don't think there's, just like you said, we all deal with different situations and different backgrounds, different, ages. I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think it's just a matter of, being honest. And if you feel like sharing it, fine. I don't think that's anything wrong. I just feel like that was the right approach for us. our kids are not dumb. They know.
I mean, you guys raised him.
Yes.
So they probably are like, yeah, they are. But it's like, why does it matter? Like,
Right.
Yeah. So it's great. It's great. Really great talking to you, seeing you guys today. Thank you very
for
much.
having us.
for
We
having
really
us.
enjoyed it.
Yes,
Thanks
it's
for sharing the
fun.
story.
And all you guys out there, please sign up for our email list at openlove101.com. Once again, so we can notify you of our upcoming blogs that Jackie writes and our videos and interviews. Thanks again for being with us. See ya.
Yeah.
See ya.
So did you like that video? Then be sure and click on that subscribe button below and you'll be guaranteed great sex the rest of your life.